Hey, what's up guys, Alex here. Thank you for checking this video and welcome to the episode number 40 of the series of tutorial on how to build a premium theme for WordPress. Welcome again. In this tutorial, we're going to continue what we started in the previous part. We're going to keep coding the single.php file, that file that handles the visualization of a single blog post. So we were checking that now, of course, we have the single.php. So if we access whatever blog post, we're gonna go directly inside the unique blog post and we're gonna access the content that we have in the actual content section. The problem is that it looks really ugly here. Of course, as I said in the previous lesson, we have an error because we don't have the comments.php. I'm not gonna take care of the comment section for now, but just to remove this error that is really annoying and is stopping the loading of all the other sections in the footer, let's create this placeholder file just to remove this really annoying error. And to do that, let's just access our main folder and let's create a new file called comments.php. Here we can leave it completely empty, we don't need to do anything, but just now that we have the comments.php, we can refresh it and we won't have anymore the really annoying error that we had before missing the template. So we're going to take care of the comment section later. Right now I want to style better the content, the inner content of my blog post. First of all, I want to reduce a lot the width of this section because I want the content to be super tight and super aligned to the center. So let's do that by updating the HTML structure inside our single.php file, the file that is external to the template parts. So let's access here. Here we have the overall structure of our main content area. And here, as you can see, you notice that we have the container section and we don't have anything else. We don't have any row or columns. What I want to do, I want to use Bootstrap to force the column to be center aligned and be a little bit tighter, not like fully going 100% to the width of the container. So let's create the class wrapper for our Bootstrap grid that it's just simply the row. And let's close the row here. Let's reuse the same HTML stuff, but change the comment row. And here we want to first indent a couple of times. And here I want to create the column where I want to wrap the content of my post around. So first let's create the div class. Let's use the standard call access12. It means that it's going to go 100% on mobile. On tablet, so call dash SM, and that stands for small. I want these to go 10. I don't want to go 100%, but 10. So it's going to have one column left, one column right missing. And then I want on medium, I want to be maybe 9, and a column large, I want to be 8. So this should be super tight. And let's close this div here. Let's create a comment. Let's use a comment to wrap this something just like call. Oops. Let's use this class called access12. Let's save it. Let's see what we did. Of course, it's going to be all shifted to the left because we didn't properly center align, but I want to just check this. This is the size that I have of my main body content. So if we access the inspector here and we check the overall thing, so we do something like that background. Let's add a background color temporarily just to see how it looks. So we have the full width of our container. It's going to be this big. If we go on tablet, it's going to be this big. And if we go on mobile, it's going to go 100%. Yes, I kind of like it. I kind of like this structure, this scaling. And I like that it's super tight, even on bigger screen. And when you go on smaller screen, but still desktop is still tight, but not too much. And when you go on mobile, it's super tight, but you have enough space to have good readability, and then when you go on mobile it goes 100%. So I like this structure. Of course guys, you're totally free to change this structure. This is sort of like showing you how you can central align the column with Bootstrap and how you can manage all the different stages of our responsive environment with the grid of Bootstrap. That is really powerful. But of course you can have it as you wish, like you're not forced to follow this. Now we have to center align this thing because of course, as you notice here, it's all shifted to the left. We have to push this main block for the specific amount of column that we want to remove. So for example, in a large situation, we have 8 columns. So full width is 12 columns. We have to remove 2 columns. So we're going to have 2, 8, and then missing 2. So in total, it's going to be 12. To do that, we have to write the class of Bootstrap call large offset 2. Save it. Let's go back here. Let's refresh. And now you can see here it's shifted to the left and it's properly central aligned. So if we do the same thing here, we select this and we just simply write a fake background. See, you're gonna see that this is perfectly central aligned. Now if we scroll down and we access the other media query, the other responsive point here, it's going to shift to the left because we changed from the large to medium and we don't have an offset for the medium. So what we have to do exactly the same for our medium and small. So let's go down here, or actually let's keep going. So call MD offset. It's 9, so it means that I have 3 columns missing to reach 12, and this is not really a good thing. So, or we have 2 options, or we go 8 or we go 10. I think it's better if we go 10. So because we're going 10, we can avoid to declare the small thing. So let's just write 10, and the offset is going to be 1 because we're going to have 1 column, 10 columns plus 1 missing, so it's going to be 12 together. And that's it. Let's remove this, let's refresh, and let's check this is still central line. This changes, still central line. You can see it grows a little bit and then it goes 100%. Of course, you cannot notice properly everything here because we don't have enough content, but let's take care of this by applying a couple of custom classes. So first of all, I want to improve the spacing between the entry content and the entry header. This is too tight. I don't really like it. So let's go back in our code editor and let's access our sunset.scss file. Let's scroll to the bottom and let's create this section called single. Here, let's style entry-content. And let's give it a margin top of 40 pixel. Refresh. Now there's more room. I like it. I want to change also the font size because, yeah, I don't like it. So the font size should be something more visible, something more popping. Let's go 18 pixel. I really like a font size of 18 pixels. So let's go there. Font size 18 pixels. It's really readable. It's easy to understand. And let's give it also a letter spacing. We are being really picky in this situation, but this is the core of our block, so it has to be super readable. And I want to increase a little bit the letter spacing, for example, 0.01 emphasis, a little bit, maybe 0.02 emphasis. Yeah, 0.02. You notice how with letter spacing, this thing gets, it just increased the readability and it's easier to read. The letters are not squished to attach to each other. So it's just with this simple letter spacing, we can solve a lot of readability issue that we could have. So let's save it like that. Let's refresh. Still looks good. It still looks great. That's awesome. Let's reduce the font weight. Let's see how it looks at 200. Maybe it's too much, or maybe not. Instead of, oh, let's go 300. Yes, I like it 300. This is really cool. I like this font weight. Okay, that's perfect. Now what we have to do, first, let's increase a little bit of the paragraph inside our entry content. So if we are entry content inside a paragraph situation, I want a margin bottom to be 15 pixel and not 10 pixels. So we're gonna have more breathing room. Here we have images. So let's access also this gallery to post inside the administration panel. Let's take a look on how it looks. Here we have all the images uploaded with a specific link, and all these images have a class of no alignment. Now I want to create a sort of like weird alignment, just to give you an example. So this one I want a central line. So I'm seeing that in the WordPress administration panel, this is central line. That's perfect. I want this central line as well, but I want this right align and I want this left align. So having this situation, these images now, they should look kind of weird, kind of odd. And also here, let me create a little bit of lorem ipsum. So let's search for lorem ipsum and let's copy a portion of the paragraph of lorem ipsum. So I'm pasting this because I want to simulate default styling of WordPress that, of course, we should take care of this, see how it looks. So let's do this. Let's copy also here. Let's put an order list, an actual simple list, numbered list. And let's copy the same text because I'm lazy. Oops, okay. And then let's create block quote, a block quote. And I think that's it. That's perfect. Let's do the last final touch with horizontal line. So we have pretty much here in this blog post, we are simulating all the elements that a user most likely will use inside our post. Let's actually select this and give it an hyperlink, a really simple fake hyperlink, just to have an hyperlink inside. That's it. It should be kind of enough. So let's update this post and let's go take a look what happens in the front end. Let's refresh. Here we have our text. As you can see, now we notice the first weird stuff, like these dots are way too big and the numbers are not aligned. The block quote is including also the HR that doesn't look great. Everything is too squished, so we can take care of this. But now we have another problem here in the footer at the bottom of our blog post. The images are not aligned. So in the administration area, these are center aligned. This is left, this is right aligned. Why this is not working? Simply because we don't have the classes that WordPress applies to the specific element. So if we access and inspect the element, every time we assign a type of alignment to an image or an element, WordPress assigns these specific unique classes that are only generated by WordPress to the element that we selected. So we have align center, or we're gonna have here another align center. Here we have align right, and we have also align left. So that's what we have to do. We have to take care of all the default classes that WordPress applies to the element from the administration panel. Let's access back our code editor, and inside here, instead of writing stuff in the single, I want to first create another base, a section, another base file that I'm gonna call underscore WordPress.scss. I'm creating this base file because I want to maintain separated the code that is default of WordPress from my custom code. Let's access back the sunset.scss and let's remember to import the specific new file that we generated called WordPress. And let's write a comment, WordPress base classes, or like default classes. Let's open a comment here. Let's copy this comment and paste it this. And of course here, instead of writing everything manually and checking all the classes and all the options, we want to be lazy and we want to optimize everything. So every time we have a situation where we need to style default classes of WordPress, let's do a quick research on Google. If you know the exact URL, you can go directly there, and the URL is codex.wordpress.com. single.php.org/CSS, all uppercase. If we go to this address, we're gonna find all the default listing of the WordPress core CSS functionality that we can easily copy everything and apply directly into our theme without writing everything again from scratch, because these are all the default classes that WordPress applies to the elements. So we have the alignment node, align center, align right, left, and so on, so on. Let's save this. Let's be sure that we import it in our Sass main file. Let's go back in our front end. Let's refresh this section, and now we have all the options that we declare. We have the align center, align left, align right. Let's take care also of this style. First of all, we have to avoid that our HR will be included. Actually, this is a mistake that I made in the administration panel. So here, I don't want the block quote. I want the block quote only. Let's remove this stuff. Create a little bit of space. This is a quote. And here I want the HR update. Let's refresh. Perfect. Okay. So first, bold. This is kind of too bold. As you can see, the difference between these two elements, this is a 300, this is 700, is way too much. Can we go 500? I think we should go 500. So still bold, less disrupting for your eyes. So let's update that by staying in the sunset.scss, and let's maintain that inside the entry content. Let's go here inside the entry content. I want bold or the declaration of strong. I want this to be a font weight of 500. Then I want to increase a little bit the line height, because the font is good, the letter spacing is good, but the line height is too tight. So let's increase also the line height to avoid to have it too tight. And let's go 1.2 emphasis is way too much. 1.5, 6. I kind of like it. This 1. Let's go 1.7. Look at that, so clean, so much room, it's so easy to read. Yes, I like it. Let's go with that. Of course, you're free to edit also this parameter and do whatever you want, like whatever you like it. That's really nice. Here we have another small problem, that is the alignment of the element. When an element is aligned, it's actually creating, by default in the class of Bootstrap, it creates some sort of padding and margin around the element, and this is interfering with our bottom footer. To avoid this, we have to force the the entry content to finish, to complete, because here, if we select the entry content, you notice it's stopping where these two elements are starting to be aligned. So if left aligned or right aligned, we have a float issue, and this entry content is not wrapping whatever is left or right aligned. Here we have a float left. If we remove the float, as you can see, we fix everything, because this element is not floating anymore, so the entry content can wrap this element around. But the floating of CSS is preventing the element to be wrapped around this container. To avoid this, we can add a simple class called clearFix to the container of our single.php file where we print the content. Inside the entry content, we add the class, the default class of Bootstrap, to avoid these issues, like a live savior, clearFix. Basically, this clearFix will add a before and after pseudo element to simulate a table. So let's take a look at what happens here. Everything in the alignment is all messed up. If we refresh after having the clearFix class, you notice that now the entry content goes 100% and includes also the floating elements. The clearFix is generating this before pseudo class and this after pseudo class, that is the live savior, and this after pseudo class has a clear both declaration and then has a display table declaration. So this clearFix option basically generates a fake table that it doesn't really exist here at the bottom and at the top, to avoid all these fixing issues with floating elements and floating options. The last thing that I want to do to style a little bit better is managing the align center of the images, because if the alignment is left or right or none, so there's no alignment, I can understand why the user wants to have a small image maybe aligned to a specific body copy and having a small icon. But if the image is center aligned, most likely our user wants the image to go 100% and be responsive with the container of our blog post. So let's force that with CSS. Let's go back in our WordPress base file and let's access the situation where we declare the align center. Let's check if we have other align center declaration. Let's grab all together and let's create a new mixin to include inside these specific classes. So let's access our mixin section and let's create a mixin called full width. We don't need any variable, so let's open brackets and let's go width 100% and height auto. So we're gonna maintain the proportion of our element. And now we can include this mixin inside the base because we don't want to repeat the same code. So let's use a mixin to include the full width mixin that we have here, include it here and include it in image align center. Actually, I don't want to do that for the div align center, so I'm gonna remove this and I'm gonna just do it for the class align center. And I'm going to include the mixin here, and I'm going to include the mixin in. So full width, actually, I wrote it wrong. Full width. This is the correct full width and full width. Otherwise, it won't work. Let's save it. Let's go back in our front end. Let's refresh. And we have an error in our compiler here. So our compiler, as we have a wrong CSS declaration here, align center. Although the semicolon at the end. Let's save, let's go back in our front end, let's refresh, and now we have these images full width. Of course, it looks awful because the image quality is not that great. So what we can do, we can simply edit the image. Instead of here having the medium, let's go with the large. And let's update this section and let's update the large as well. So it's not gonna look awful. Update, let's go back here, let's refresh, and now it looks super sharp. What we did with the CSS, we forced the proportion of this image to go 100% of the width of the container, and with the height declaration to auto, we are forcing the proportion to remain fixed, to remain as the image. So we're not gonna distort the image to have a weird ratio, but it's going to maintain his original. And because we're going full width 100%, as you can see here, the image resizes properly based on the container width. And this is great for responsive purposes. And these, we're giving the user the ability to have a central line image, pretty good, full width 100%, or if they want, they can have also, let's update to simulate all the 4 options. So we have full width 100%. Actually, this one I want to go no alignment. And if I go here, I put the text center align. Let's go back. Let's refresh. This is text center align. If I go and edit this to be medium again, so I want the small text center align. Let's go back here. I want the paragraph to be central aligned. So I want just align center. So I want to remove this and I want to just the image. Let's put it down to update a little bit. So here, instead of all every time, I want to just affect the image to be full width. Let's refresh, still like that, because we want to update the paragraph and not the image. So center line here, let's have a align center paragraph, and let's put the image inside this paragraph. So this image is no alignment, but the paragraph is central line. So update this, and now we should have the image that is aligned to the center, because it's inside a paragraph that is center aligned, but the image is not, doesn't have the class align center, so it's not going 100%. This has the class align center, and these two, they have align right and align left. And the full responsive situation works properly, but we're gonna make something better probably in the future. Well, it's pretty much it for today's lesson. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please give it a thumbs up or subscribe to my channel. And if you want, you can spend a couple of minutes to check the support me page on my website, where you can find different ways and methods to support me, support my channel, and help me to do better videos and better tutorials for you. Thank you again, guys, and until the next lesson, as usual, happy coding!